3 months ago, I thought that I knew so much music, and I've been proved so wrong, so wrong. I absolutely love her, absolutely love her. So I'll be listening to Angelina Jordan, this week, next month, next year, for the rest of my life.
See, in my title for this video, I'm saying Angelina Jordan is not a prodigy, and of course I don't really mean that. What I mean is she's not like the typical child prodigy, and this focus on her as being a child prodigy bothers me in some ways because it makes people tend to focus on her younger work and talk about, the mature voice coming out of that young child's body. And I think that kind of in some ways minimizes her talent, her artistic talent. So I say that she's not like a typical prodigy, and what I mean is I think there's basically two kinds of prodigies, and the more common one is the kind that she is not. So I have a chart here where I would say, let's take a singer who's like very talented, not like supremely talented, not like one of the greatest ever, but is talented enough to, say, win American Idol or something like that. And this is the kind of normal course of their career. They kind of start developing after age 3 or so, and then it kind of picks up and then plateaus off maybe somewhere around age 25. Now, I think the typical prodigy is more of a case of not being any more artistically gifted than that American Idol winner, but just developing a lot more quickly. It's like fast development. So here's like the curve of somebody like that. So they're just very quickly, as an 8-year-old, they're at a much higher position on a chart here. But what happens with these typical prodigies is that then as time goes on, the growth curve of the normal growth curve catches up. And so, interest in them kind of fades out because they seem a lot more ordinary. This happens so much with children who are really gifted at playing instruments. Like on America's Got Talent, there was that violinist who was in the finals along with Angelina Jordan, Tyler Butler Figueroa. Now, I don't know, maybe now he's, become very successful, but I mean, if he hasn't, that would be an example of somebody who, wow, how can they play that good as a child? But then when they're an adult, they're not one of the greatest violin players, they're just a very good violin player.
I'm going to prove to America that the best things come in small packages.
A singer example that kind of did play out this way is Jackie Ivanko. Everybody was very impressed with her, including a lot of the people who like Angelina Jordan now. But then as she got older, it became more like she was just, a very good opera singer who could win an American Idol type of contest, but not like one of the all-time greats. And so that's that type of prodigy, I think, is the more typical kind. Most child prodigies kind of fade out as adults and are no longer very famous when they become adults. But then there's the kind that I think Angelina Jordan is, and that's where they're already starting out at a much higher level. They'll have a growth curve similar to a regular person, but at age 8, they're already higher than, they're at the same level as the other child prodigies because their growth curve is more normal. But then past that age, they go higher and higher until at age 25, they're at a much higher level than just the very good singer. And, well, how do I know that? Well, I don't know that for sure because, we haven't seen the future. But I think there are certain indications that you can see when a prodigy is young. And one is something that I think Sandy, the reactor from Smiley Face Reactions, she hasn't done any reactions for a long while, but she was one of the early people who discovered Angelina and was blown away. Well, she talked about in her second reaction to Angelina Jordan about the difference between Angelina and other very good child singers. And so I'd like to play that little clip.
One thing that really sets her apart is when you have these, younger singers, even the ones that are amazing, they're trying to belt out and do these crazy runs and hit the highest note, and they overdo everything. She does everything so subtly and so quietly. It pulls you in. You have to kind of sit on the edge of your seat and listen, because she's so quiet and subtle in every little I can't speak. Oh my God. But all the little details in her voice, the things that make it so unique and so beautiful.
So, yeah, it's, if a child singer is not, focusing on showing off their skills and doing the highest highs and the longest, most powerful belts, that's one good indication. Another one was also kind of touched upon by Sandy.
She auditioned when she was 7 and sang, I think, was it Gloomy Sunday by Billie Holiday. I can't even imagine that in my brain. Like, I don't know this. Yeah, I'm already stuttering. I haven't even listened to it yet.
Angelina Jordan has consistently chosen songs that are not like showcases for powerful belting. They tend to be, older songs, jazz, but not only jazz. I mean, look at her choices for Norway's Got Talent. She had 3 classic jazz songs, but then she had this old pop song that kind of had a jazz feel to it and was very much about feeling and emotion, not about how high can I belt.
This is her singing Nancy Sinatra's Bang Bang. Again, I don't know how she would ever hear this song at this age. I can't wait.
I was 5 and he was 6. We wore horses made of sticks. You were black and I were white. He would always win the fight. Bang, bang, I shot him down. Bang, bang, you hit the ground. Bang, bang, and that awful sound. Bang, bang.
And then a third indication is, are there other things that the Prodigy can do outside of that field where they're a prodigy that also indicates that they're at a higher level? And I would say, with the whole story of why she goes barefoot, which that story has been gone into at length on other occasions, and I won't go into it now, but the fact that she had that empathy and wanted to do that for this child that she met, and the fact that she wrote a book that was very adult in its themes and its language is another indication.
Not a pushing ghost, all she ever known, her feeling, her highs and lows. She keeps them in the know, broken till it's over, dreaming. They say it's true when you're left with nothing. Anything is everything.
So, I think that Angelina Jordan is much more than a typical prodigy, and so it kind of bothers me when people are steered to the younger Angelina Jordan, the I put a spell on you. You get a lot of these new reactors kind of, again, focusing on that prodigy aspect, and I think that can make them not appreciate the true talent she really is. I would actually prefer that reactors be steered to her newer performances.
the voice is not top class, if the emotions are not there, and you're trying to do a blues and jazz, it just sounds bad, you know? In pop music and all sorts of music, you can be mediocre and still sound good. Well, in jazz and blues, if you're not top notch, it just shows, because blues without emotions is blues and jazz without emotions, and the and high quality improvisation in her voice like she's doing here, it just there's nothing left. There's nothing to listen to.
And yes, as Angelina Jordan has gotten older, there is that surprise element has faded. You know, her voice matches her body more. It's not like, wow, how does this big adult sing like that? You know, and that's something that I think people have some nostalgia for and are missing that. But I would like to point out one thing that one way that I think there's even more of a contrast now than there was when she was this little kid having this, you know, very mature adult's voice. And that is, if you look at her social media now compared to like what we had of her outside of singing in her childhood days. In her childhood days, although yes, it was a young body with this mature voice, other aspects of her seemed to fit more. She looked more old school in the way she dressed, and that wild hair and everything, that kind of fit with her emotive style of singing and her old school style of singing. But now, although the body fits more, if you look at the social media posts, they're very much a typical teenager, including some things that I don't particularly care for, some of this vamping stuff. And if you see her talking about things like, you know, this great overuse of the word like in sentences. And for me, you know, that's a huge contrast. It's like she is a regular teen until she opens her mouth to sing.
They try to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no.
So that's another thing, is if I was steering new reactors to the more mature Angelina Jordan, I think I could still preserve that shock for them by maybe having them look at some of these social media posts first, or some of these TikToks where she's starting out and you're just talking for a bit and then she bursts into song.
Let's give this one a try, shall we? Okay. I don't say a word, but still you take my breath, and still the things I know. There you go, saving me from hurt and cold. Fire, fire, normally careless, but this much desire together we win this.
So yeah, I think it's important to remember that Angelina Jordan is much more than a child prodigy.
It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life for me and feeling good, and I'm feeling good.
I can't think of a blues and jazz voice that is better than hers. I can't think of it. There are many like titans in the past, but at the age of 18, she is at least as good as anyone else in history. Maybe even better. Holy crap, what an amazing voice, folks. Beautiful, beautiful.